would entertain a motion, this doesn't require a ordinance number, but we are looking for the recommendation from staff is denial. So you can either make a motion for denial, or make a motion to overrule the denial.
I move that we deny CUP-14-01, a conditional use permit for oil and gas wells for applicant Russell Family, LLC at Kill Creek Road and West 159th Street, parcel identification number CF221410-2001.
Second.
Motion Freeman, second Podovich, that we deny the conditional use permit for oil and gas wells for applicant Russell Family LLC at Kill Creek Road and West 159th Street, parcel identification number CF 221410-2001. Entirety of the governing body voting, so we'll do a roll call. Roberts? The vote is to deny.
No.
Freeman?
Yes.
Podovich?
Yes.
Harrison?
No.
Shoot.
No.
I will vote yes, although it's not required, because it was going to need 5 out of 6 of us voting in the affirmative to overcome the recommendation from Planning Commission. So, new business item number 3 fails. So, pass. I'm sorry, pass. It is denied. Yes. New business item number 4. Consider acceptance of easements and rights of way for the final plat for Sheens Crossing second plat, FP-14-04. Mike Hall, good evening.
Thank you. So before you is a request to consider the acceptance of easements and rights of way for the final plat for Sheens Crossing second plat. This is a plat that relates to an earlier project, a rezone application that you considered in April. And this is a rezone for a planned district, and accompanying that rezone application, as is the case with the planned district, was a preliminary development plan. And the governing body voted to approve an ordinance to approve the rezone, subject to some conditions. And one of those conditions was to come back with a plat showing a dedication of right-of-way. As an alternative, the developer and owner could enter into an agreement with the city that commits them to dedicate right-of-way in the future. So where the project is now, Nottingham Village is trying to go forward, and they have to satisfy this condition in order to go forward. The rezone does not take effect unless either the right-of-way is dedicated on a plat, or there's some kind of agreement to dedicate the right-of-way in the future. And so what they've done is they've come back and they've applied for the plat. They also applied for a final development plan that was approved by the Planning Commission. Planning Commission has the authority to approve a final development plan, and the Planning Commission approved the plat. Now it goes to you for acceptance of the right-of-way and easements. So this is the site of Sheens Crossing, and as you can see the parcel line showing the existing configuration of the lots. what they're proposing to do is to plat it in this configuration. This shows where the right-of-way for the new road would be dedicated. One thing I should say that in the Planning Commission meeting, a gentleman by the name of Mark Hanna, who's here tonight, he represents the owner of the 60-plus acre parcel to the south that was formerly the KC Pumpkin Patch. He expressed some concern about this new road being labeled as 191st Street. So actually, this plat still shows 191st Street on the road, but the actual plat before you shows this as being relabeled to South Locust Street, and that was done at the request of that property owner. So this is the location in Nottingham Village within, there's a 5-acre parcel, 5-acre lot within Shane's Crossing. Tract A is a detention basin. This is the existing alignment for 191st Street. And this adoption of this plat does not change that, just to be clear. That would require some additional action in the future. This shows 191st Street as it would connect to the existing 191st Street. This shows an access easement. Originally proposed was taking direct access to these lots from Gardner Road, and through the process that was based on staff's recommendation, based on transportation engineering, that was changed such that the access easement would not directly connect to Gardner Road. There are also a number of different types of utility easements on the plat that you're being asked to accept. Planning Commission's recommendation is to accept the dedication of easements and rights-of-way subject to the following conditions: satisfy the conditions of the rezoning, remove the 191st Street label for new right-of-way on the plat. I mentioned before that that's already been done. The plat that's in the packet actually shows that 191st Street's been removed from the right-of-way. With that, I'll respond to any questions you might have.
Okay. Well, before we do that, we'll open the floor for public comments on new business item number 4, if there's anyone that would like to come forward and speak about new business item number 4.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. John Peterson, representing the ownership group of Shane's Crossing, actually being part of the ownership group of Shane's Crossing, and thank you again for the opportunity to take a few minutes of your time. I would be remiss, and this will be a bit of a pulling back a little bit of a historical perspective for the point I'm really trying to make, but I remember being in front of the Planning Commission and the governing body when this land use, that is really what's driving this plat, first came before you, and I could tell the initial reaction was, multifamily is not really what we were looking for at this site. And I think I even offered at this podium, nor was it for us. And I think through that conversation, we came to an understanding, at least I hope, I tried to express that understanding, that our focus for this 40-some acres at a very strategic location, in large part, is to bring some good, viable retail to this corridor. And at that time, I asked you if you would consider a portion of the site going multifamily, and we saw it as a positive for a couple of reasons. One, the ownership finally makes some money on this property, but that really wasn't the driving. We would pass if that's all it was. But we saw, one, in this day and age, mixed uses as it mixes with retail is not a bad thing. In fact, I think it's been recognized all across Johnson County. It can be create vibrancy for retail, so we saw that as a positive. And as you recall, I said, kind of a strange configuration of this property, and it kind of gives us a use that makes sense overall as we move forward towards predominantly retail. Kind of eats up 5 acres of that back that would be very difficult to develop for retail in any event. The Zimmerman went through the process, and I will say, we got all that worked out, and I don't need to thank you because you made the decision because you thought it was good policy for the city, but I